Hello, Gemini. How's everybody doing today? Hopefully you're doing well. Thank you so much for giving me a couple of minutes here to get set up. I just had to finish up with the channel messages. Lots of things to share with you today. Looks like you have a really great month ahead. A lot to do with teamwork and productivity. So we'll talk more about that as I get into the channel messages here in just a second. I'm going to let little Apollo sit down and get his beauty rest. Thanks, buddy. All right, and let's talk a little bit. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. Most of you probably know that, but if you're brand new, I just want to say welcome. The way that this works today is that we're going to be looking at messages coming through for Sun, Rising, Moon, Venus, any aspect of your chart that you happen to know. This is for the next month ahead, the next 6 to 8 weeks from when you're watching this. Ideally, we're looking at February, but a lot of the messages that I'm going to be talking about at the beginning will be valid if you're watching it in January, because the channeled messages have to do with here and now, and then the Celtic Cross kind of shows us what's coming ahead. So just a couple of notes today on how this is organized. I always like to begin with channeled messages at the beginning. After we look at the channeled messages, we'll move along to the Celtic Cross, which you're very familiar with at this point. Then I like to expand the forecast to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. And that gives us a chance to see everything that's coming through in the month ahead. We'll go a little deeper after that. We'll look at the big idea, big sort of opportunity for the month, a blessing and a block. I usually throw out some questions for you to look at. And then we will go ahead and move on to the final portion, which is a meditation and a final card at the end, looking at anything that you need answered. It's a silent question, a sort of personal question, and I read the general energy around that. Okay, so that's the main focus. That's the main sort of organization for everything today. If you've never been here before, the way that I read and the way that I kind of set things up is it's all about empowerment. I think that we are agents of our own destiny, that free will is one of the most important things that we can access, that nothing's really set in stone completely. So why would we be showing up if we didn't have a chance to move the compass in one direction or another? Okay, so I'm here to empower you and to inform you. You have a lot of power and a lot of opportunity after you watch one of these readings. A couple of quick notes before I get started. Maria is going to be your moderator today. You'll see her with the blue text there. I want to welcome all of my members there. I can see a lot of familiar faces. Thank you so much. If you'd like to become a member or show support during this reading, there is an icon right here for Super Chat. Looks like the little dollar sign next to the emojis. From there, you can give back a little bit, help support the channel. I have some new features coming, hopefully by the collective. I'm probably going to do an impromptu either tonight or tomorrow. I have it here, but it's not activated yet. I have an overhead cam that's going to allow you to see what I'm working on beneath, basically the spread and everything. So I have a few little pieces that I have to put together for that, but all of your contributions have allowed me to do a series of upgrades with my gear this year. So hopefully that'll be more fun. If you want to know how I use it, I reinvested in the channel. So thank you so much. If you'd like to find out more about me and what's going on, you can also follow me on social media. I'm going to paste a link right now so you don't have to like pause the video and look at all of that. And basically that'll be a way where you can just, if you need reminders, I know sometimes the YouTube notifications don't always work, not the way that we'd like them to. This is a great way to keep in touch. So here you go. These are my social media links and also my official website. If you want to show thanks when this is on replay, you can also do it by clicking the thanks button. Okay, that's everything for now. Let's go ahead now and get started. You have, like I said, a really cool totem today. Yesterday, it met me as I was walking Apollo. Here in LA, we have a kind of weird winter where it's mild. We do get into the 40s and 50s degrees Celsius, I should say, or Fahrenheit rather. So it's not cold, it's not freezing. It's warm enough for things like hummingbirds and bees to still be around. So I did have a bee that just sort of like wouldn't leave me alone as I was walking the dog. And I said, I got it. You'll be tomorrow's totem. So it's a honeybee to be specific, not sort of a bumblebee. Smaller, does have a stinger. Bumblebees don't necessarily have stingers. I actually love it when I happen to run into a bumblebee or a honeybee, because both of them represent abundance, fertility, growth, and the divine feminine, which is what we're going to be talking about. Just to kind of show a picture, because who doesn't love seeing a friendly little bee here or a busy bee? Here we go. This is what I basically bumped into yesterday, the lovely honeybee. And here it's basically going to come through to help you figure out how to navigate opportunities this month. All right. So let me break down some information I found interesting and some things that came to mind as I was thinking about how could you connect to this totem to really be in a powerful place for the month ahead. All right, so first of all, bees have some longevity on their side. They've been around on this planet for over 30 million years. I think the Earth is 4.5, give or take, billion years old. So this is a decent chunk of that time. There hasn't been life on the planet for the entire time. So this is pretty impressive. Bees owe their success in part to a highly organized structure. To me, I would really connect them to the energy of the Hierophant card. And the Hierophant, sometimes, it depends on how you look at it. I think it has a lot of positive connotations. It's not always about sort of like a stuffy environment. What it can show you is the power of organization, teamwork, focus, and also knowing sort of that line of command. Sometimes it's nice just to know what you need to do, who you can ask a question if you have a question, and just sort of like it's a sense of security and clarity. So that's what the Hierophant kind of brings about. That's what the Queen Bee energy brings about. She's also Empress, but whether it's going to be Hierophant or Empress energy, there's a lot of leadership and a lot of organization that will be, I think, intrinsic to what's coming through this month. All right. Like I said, bees are connected to the divine feminine. The colony is ruled by a queen, and it's managed mostly by female workers. There are drones. They kind of exist solely for the purpose of reproduction. They don't usually leave the nest that often unless they're going to move to create a new colony. So primarily matriarchal sort of society. And so it's very easy in this totem to see divine feminine energy is what dominates it. So I am very... I read cards without gender, and when I look at divine energies, masculine or feminine, I also think it doesn't matter what you identify as. When we see like divine feminine energy, it brings forth things that we can all access because we have both energies within. So this is a month to really focus on creation, birthing, nurturing, or expressing yourself, and figuring out like how you can make these sort of, it's a lot of verbs basically, right? Creation, birthing, nurturing, and expressing. So a lot of times we deny ourselves of these essential things that we need to feel happy, to be ourselves, to connect to others, to inspire others. And this is the month to not kind of let those things go by the wayside. If you're the kind of person that tends to do for others, remember to do for yourself. I didn't put this card or didn't write this card in my index cards here, but the other thing that would come through is the Queen of Pentacles, because of all the different queen cards that could potentially come through. She's the one that really knows how to take care of others. And a lot of times you will see her much like the Empress, like with a pregnant belly, which is just showing that ability to create and to nurture and to birth. So if you've been waiting to do something, start something, release something, finish something, whatever, this is the time to do it because you have that developmental energy, basically. Okay. Of course, because there is a colony, because there is a hive, you cannot avoid things like teamwork, cooperation, collaboration. All of those things are going to be absolutely important and play a key role in the next month or next 6 to 8 weeks. I think that having a single leader or a concise vision is going to be essential to keep things in order. I'll talk later about maybe one of the tricky sort of energies around having that sort of queen bee energy, but I do think that it's important for people to know, like I said earlier, who's in charge, who's the problem solver, who's the project manager, who's accountable. If you kind of assign duties or volunteer for certain things like that, it's going to help you avoid confusion later on. Sometimes having too flat of an organization or management, it just leads to unnecessary competition or a lot of, again, confusion or finger pointing. So get everything written down in a contract as well. I think that assigning of duties and expectations is going to be paramount to success. I think I covered all of this. Assign tasks, create a schedule, and also stay accountable. This staying accountable card or message here, it's just as much about you keeping others accountable as them keeping you accountable. This is a way that you can avoid the Seven of Swords, which a lot of times can be fooling yourself or fooling others in its kindest version. Otherwise, it can be deception. But once you've got it in writing and you agree to it, it's sort of hard to point a finger because it's like, yeah, okay, I didn't do it, but I will do it. Better to just admit and be transparent if something slipped through. We all make mistakes. I'm a busy person. Sometimes I just forget to do something, and it's better to just just try to do better next time, right? That's the best you can do when you've dropped the ball, and try to help the person if you left them in a situation that's tricky. Go above and beyond. The worker bees, which again are females in the colony, actually it's like more of a management sort of thing. They take care of the young, they forage and gather. They're doing all the hard work actually. I think for many of you, it's just a busy month. I didn't even put this here, it'd be like the Five of Wands. Some of that busyness is going to be foraging, searching, but it'll be fruitful because bees actually are very good at doing just that. In fact, what I saw probably coming through for many of you is energy of Eight of Wands and Eight of Pentacles. Eight of Wands is predictable busyness. And for those of you in small business or those of you that are trying to start something up, it's momentum. Eight of Pentacles is a good card for being able to see progress happen, editing. And here we go. Next piece, editing, revising, and building or rebuilding things. A really good chance to kind of put your energy where it matters and see a definite return on it. Both the Eight of Pentacles and the Three of Pentacles bring that sort of productivity, and like you feel like it was good. It was a job well done and a day's worth of work that you actually feel moved you forward. So I see productivity. I see a lot of sort of momentum that's getting started. You just have to kind of keep up with that. All of this will lead you eventually into prosperity, like the Wheel of Fortune or Ace of Pentacles. All right, let's get to a tricky thing with the bees. There's only one queen. So leadership may actually create a sense of competition. And this is something, competition in and of itself isn't bad. But if there's only room for one, like a glass ceiling, or if there is a feeling that there can only be one, then that might be an imagined sort of thing. Maybe you're stifling the growth of like a company or a family or a relationship if you feel like there can only be one. If that's the case, then growth could be stunted or blocked. And that's the time where you want to address it. Either speak up, or it might be time to decide like, this just isn't for me. I need to do something different. Okay. Interesting piece here. When I look at the stinger, I think of swords, just like, because it looks like a sword or a spear. I want you to be careful on overall communication over the next month. Honeybees, not all bees, but honeybees, if they sting, they die usually after they lose their stinger. I think you want to be mindful of trade-offs. There could be something where you have to give up something to get something else. It's not going to be like do or die in this case, but it would be something where there could be a significant trade-off. I also think that could indicate like a Queen of Swords reversed or a Ten of Swords moment where saying too much or saying something hurtful could put a sort of wedge, permanent wedge, maybe between you and someone else. It would burn a bridge. So if there is any of those situations, I also put Five of Swords, which is a no-win situation. I think you want to be really mindful of these things and hopefully avoid them. I don't think that you ever want to avoid a necessary conversation, but I do think it would be important for you to really kind of dig deep and consider if it's worth it, or if you're truly ready, just say, okay, I'm ready to say this and move on. But be mindful of the trade-offs with communications, with decisions, with actions. So important. Okay. There was a line that it reminded me of from What Dreams May Come. And this is more paraphrased because I didn't have time to look up the exact line. But there was a point during the movie where the main character, whose wife, well, I don't want to give too much away, but basically she made a sacrifice and he needed to make a sacrifice too. And so sometimes when you lose, you win. So sometimes when you choose to not be right in a situation, you're actually going to come out feeling and looking better. People around you are going to understand, like, you didn't have to go there. You didn't have to prove yourself. You don't have to prove yourself all the time, right? You can just know I'm doing the right thing and I don't have to quote unquote win this argument or show them. So in this case, sometimes when you lose, you win. Sometimes when you lose. So sometimes when you win the argument, you lose the war, right? That battle may not be worth losing the big sort of overarching purpose or war here. So stick to your values, stick to the higher path. Realize that some people just can't let things go. And so if it's them trying to argue with you, or if you feel like you need to argue with them, really evaluate it and think, is it worth it? Use your energy and time instead on things that truly matter. All those 8 cards that we were talking about, 8 of Pentacles, 8 of Wands, knowledge expansion, productivity, anything where you see a sort of reciprocity existing is going to be so important. Okay. The other thing that is coming through with all of this is balance. And there's a bunch of cards in tarot, so many that can actually indicate it. The Six of Pentacles, the Two of Pentacles, and Justice. Six of Pentacles is really about understanding that you can probably do what you want to do, but you may have to kind of adjust scope and timing. Two of Pentacles is really involving making a choice. Justice is making a decision and also doing what's right. All of them involve saying what you feel, yes to something, no to something, or going back in and saying, we need to look at this. This isn't working. And maybe figuring it out in a sort of cooperative sort of way. And everything that I just said is here in addition to delegation. So saying no, delegating, and communicating your needs, your wants, your needs, your desires. And also when someone does something great, acknowledge that and say, you did a great job. This makes me happy. I'm proud of you. Depending on, you want to say it authentically and not in a condescending way, but I'm proud of you would work with children. It could also be for a friend who overcame really difficult odds to say, wow, this is really inspirational. That's another way of showing admiration or pride. And then if you ever get that sort of tinge of jealousy, instead go back to inspiration and think, I'm not jealous really of this person. I'm inspired and maybe motivated now to do something similar for myself. All right. So kind of pushing yourself back into that place of motivation is going to be important. Finally, with the bees, the energy that I picked up on was prioritization. And this can be, like we were talking about, putting together a schedule. It could also be a bigger sort of decision, which is, I've given so much to this and this, but I haven't been feeling it. This is where my heart really is kind of guiding me and leading me. This is where my heart is. Once your heart is there, you can give 110%. And everything else will start to really fall into a nice pattern and kind of, you'll open up a synchronicity, basically. Okay. So what a great totem to come through. What an empowering totem to come through for you. I'm excited to see how it factors into each and every one of your lives over the next 6 to 8 weeks. But the key thing with this is power, leadership, productivity, cooperation. It has some really good pieces with it. And I think I've kind of put this out there before, but it's just a question of, do you want to lead or follow? Are you a queen or a worker bee? And that's kind of your decision. There's nothing wrong with either, but kind of figure out what it is you're trying to do. And you can either be very productive or very effective if you're trying to lead. So nothing really negative coming through with this. Yet a single totem today, because I had a lot to talk about when I tuned into it. Okay. So yay, Gemini. I'm really looking forward to the reading here as well. All right. So I saw we actually had a request for a deck. I haven't used it for a while. I could use the Fountain Tarot. It's kind of a little bit more ethereal sort of view. So maybe I will. I don't think I've used this in eons. So I don't usually take requests, but I had it to the side. It looks pretty on camera. So let's give it a go. I like the cards as well because there's some really unique takes on it. So we'll go for this. All right. Let me go ahead now, and I'm going to pull the camera down. Like I said, hopefully in a few days, I won't have to kind of get up and do this. But until I get my setup completed, I'm going to have to stand up and pull the camera down. So just one moment here while I get everything ready. All right. Like I said, I'll have a new arrangement soon. All right. Thank you for being patient. Like I said, I'm working on having a slightly better solution so you can see all the cards. It just takes time as I kind of get set up here with some new stuff. So I'll be having a 2-camera setup soon. All right. Let's begin with your catalyst card. So we have Lord Ganesha coming through with this inner knowing. So this is really encouraging you to trust what you already know. I think a lot of us with this card reverse, this would be like judgment reversed. It's so difficult sometimes to just take that first step towards doing what's right, what we know we need to do, because a lot of times there's peer pressure, family pressure. We expect you to do this. Why can't you just do this? And so this is really encouraging you to do what you know is right, what you feel is right, not what is being sort of projected or expected. And then for some of you, decisions have been made in a sort of external way. And you may be feeling this sense of, do I still have a choice in the matter? And this card is telling you it's not so much the fact that they made the decision that you didn't want, it's what are you going to do next? So you always have choices, you always have power. And I think the next and the most important thing for you is to figure out, what has this taught me and what do I want to do next? Okay. So if someone's made a decision and you can't control it, you can still control your reaction. If you know what you want to do, but you're not taking action on it, you can still decide, like, what is it that is causing this sort of this stagnation? We want to get past the stagnation here, okay? Because ultimately a lot of movement awaits. If it is connected to judgment, like I'm saying, then judgment is also rebirth. It's rising from the dead. If you look at the card in the Rider-Waite-Smith tradition, you would see all these bodies coming up and having their sort of second life and an afterlife. So you have a chance to begin again. Okay. So you know what to do. You know the step that's necessary to bring about that rebirth. So take that step. That's really what this card is showing you. You're not actually blocked. It's just a matter of deciding. We have the Four of Swords at the center, which is a very, very gentle card about moving on. Okay. And so it's actually crossed by another card that is all about moving on. So we have Death crossing the Four of Swords. So Four of Swords is your central theme, which is time heals everything. A lot of times we want to rush through grieving, change, movement, but we have to give ourselves a moment. So I think many of you are finding what you need right now to understand, who am I? What do I want? What's next? Something that I've been kind of pushing us all to think about. There's a cute little bird on this one, like a little sparrow. And to me, that represents an opportunity knocking, and also like your higher self coming through, whispering what's next. So I really want you to listen to your that inner voice and follow through on what it is you want to do. Four of Swords can also indicate some of you are a little tired. So sleep is something you need to prioritize. Each of us needs a different amount of sleep, but with the Four of Swords, sometimes we're just burned out and we just need a day off. So take a day off if you need it, rest. It's a very recoverable card, the Four of Swords. It just is showing that you're a little ragged sometimes. And the other thing is you might be denying yourself that opportunity to rest. Rest is part of movement and change. That's why the change card is actually on top of it, Death. So with Death, a lot of times you have to go, this is just like a horse in the darkness. Sometimes you have to move through uncharted territory to discover what's beyond, what's next, okay? And so I think, I actually saw one of my friends on Facebook who reads tarot like me. Birthday just occurred, and he pulled like the Death card. And a bunch of us that read were saying it's going to be an exciting year. Like there's some really cool blessings that can come with the Death card, which is if there was anything in your life where you felt stagnation, if there was anything where you felt blocked, probably within the next month, you're going to see that come to a close. The Four of Swords showing like a final sort of making peace with something, and then the change card or transformation or death saying the door is opened, you're stepping through it. So this is the moment for you. This is a big shift. This year will not be like last year. This month will not be like last month. And you just have to decide, what am I going to do with the change? I kind of know what I want to do, but what am I going to do with it? Okay. So because of the placement of this, and because we had two transformational cards right on top of each other, you're just making peace with needing to make the change. Okay. So the sooner you make the peace, the sooner the change comes in, the sooner things start to kind of get awesome, but you can't rush it. So just sort of really sit with it and figure out what is it that I need to do to feel better. For many of you, the reason change is necessary as we look at deep past is reclamation of power. We have the devil card here in your deep past representing someone, something that might have taken away choice, power, disenfranchised you, etc. This could also be you deciding, like, I just don't vibe with the way this is organized. We talked a lot about colony structure with the sort of beehive. In real life, this would be potentially a familial structure, could be societal, community, or work. So people around you imposing energy that works on them, but it doesn't work for you. So if that doesn't work, if they are coming through and not allowing you to express yourself, be authentic, this card is saying it's absolutely the time and the place to for you to now to sort of like break those shackles, reclaim, love yourself enough to make that shift, and you'll be all right. The devil is simply a lower frequency lovers card. Fun fact. If you ever look at the lovers and the devil card, you're going to see almost identical imagery. One's lighter, one's darker, and an angel, and not an angel, and the other one, usually the devil. But a common theme in the devil card would be like chains or shackles or limits. People are typically not happy with where they're at. So choose to liberate yourself, help liberate others if you can. Walk away from temptations and old habits in your life that have a way of sort of holding you back. That's it, basically. Okay. Everything else looks good, but we have to move through those energies of change and limits. It can just be limiting factors that you've put in yourself as well. Thought like, I can't do this. Because I have news for you. You're on this precipice of change. We have the Wheel of Fortune in reverse, but the Wheel of Fortune, if we do it upright, it's really kind of cool here. It almost looks like an atom or something here. We see someone changing, shifting, and moving. And that's really what it is like. Even what we look like, this desk, our body, it's actually a bunch of, atoms that are moving. There's space in between. We're not as solid as we think. There's always sort of a flexibility in that path. This is why I talk a lot about your ability to move forward in your future. Destiny, as I read it, is malleable. So the Wheel of Fortune in reverse, new job and a change of fortune. Thank you very much. Because we want to change it if this card was coming through in the deep past, right? Enough is enough. So now is your time to reclaim power, to change direction, to reset expectations. And I think it's going to be really an exciting kind of moment for you. And again, let's not look at the devil card as someone put here, falling angels. It's not necessarily that. It can just be limits. It can people be limiting you or you limiting them. It's a personification of something in life. So it's not just that. It's also kind of like not letting yourself do what you can do, because ostensibly that's actually what the devil wants, is for you not to succeed and to do your most. You're sort of like achieve your best. So it's more sort of like a symbol when we look at these cards. So don't give into that symbol or that energy. You're going to instead empower yourself. The card here is not, it's not going to hold a torch to the queen bee energy that we were talking about earlier. Guess what? We got the Hierophant. This makes a lot of sense because I was talking about the Hierophant earlier with the bees. So the thing with this Hierophant that I've always enjoyed is that he's looking inside a box and might be looking at different ways of doing things. So thinking outside of the box, looking into different opportunities. Enlightenment is coming from that ability to kind of go deeper and go beyond. So this is your time to think outside of the box. You may be a very unlikely Hierophant. There's a really cool card in the High Priestess deck where he's having a good time. He seems very young, very vibrant. This one we see a slightly older gentleman there, but he is also kind of going to places or looking into places that others wouldn't. So you may be asked to come up with an idea because other people just can't use their imagination. So don't discount something before it's had a chance to grow a little bit. With all the nurturing energy that we talked about, that Hierophant needs that ability to kind of give it some time and space. If you're working on a new idea that you want to pitch, maybe it's a book, it's a project, it's even just something that you want to announce, a change in your life. Get comfortable with it, finish it, and get to the point where when you want to talk about it, you're kind of just exuding joy and confidence. You really need the confidence. That's what's going to make other people feel okay. Seven of Cups reversed. It's time for decisions to come through. So with this, I would say for many of you, you have to kind of just make sure that you give yourself time to dream. Seven of Cups is important for that. But when the Seven of Cups is reversed, it's saying dream and then do. Don't just sort of sit and dream and meditate and wish. So if you have a dream, if you have something that you really want to see movement or change happen on right here and right now, then this card is really begging for action to take place. And if you need to bounce your ideas off of someone else, uh, do it. A lot of times when I'm trying to come up with, a new plan, or if I want to sort of just have someone pressure test an idea, I find that talking on the phone, texting a little bit, just even writing it out, I'm able to usually solve it myself while I'm talking to the other person. I come to another epiphany or brainstorm, and I'm like, oh, how about this? And then the other person will usually say, yes, that's better than the first idea. Sometimes we just need that little bit of support. So don't be afraid to do a little bit of teamwork. Remember, with the collaborative energy of bees, there is power in numbers. And you could just tell someone, all I need you to do is to ask questions, to tell me which one you like the most. You don't have to kind of like worry about feelings here or anything. We're just trying to identify what's best, because sometimes we can't see through what's in front of us. So I see some gems, some good ideas, but we need to polish everything so you can see what shines the most. Okay. This is so positive for you. We have in your ego or soul position the star card. This is what it's all about. And with this card, you are a star on the rise. Good things are going to happen. But when we talked about your totem, the fact that there can sometimes only be, well, not sometimes, there can only be a single queen in each colony. For some of you, you might have outgrown your current situation. So if you are, working for a company that you love, maybe you've been there since you were an intern, maybe you've been there 20, 30 years. It doesn't matter how long you've been somewhere. But if you're ready for the change and other people continually get the advancement or the recognition, you've outgrown it, or they're afraid of putting you in the next spot because they don't want to lose you. They don't want to see you get, kind of like gobbled up by some other division or some other place. So growth is necessary. You have to let people fly. And if you're not being allowed to fly, then that's something you need to think about. If you're kind of inhibiting other people's growth, then also you want to kind of go back to that thought that, we all need that flexibility. I talked yesterday as I was reading Taurus about the Eight of Swords. And a really cool illustration that I would use is like a birdcage with the cage door open. And as we're looking at this star card and kind of pulling in some of the same sort of thoughts here, I want you to think of a portal that's been open or a door that's open. When we're used to the confines or the security of the old way of thinking or being, a little bit of the energy of the Hierophant, and definitely some of the energy here of the devil. Even though like you don't like something, sometimes it's nicer to just say, well, they don't let me do it. And when you're fully accountable and independent, it's only you that you can blame for mistakes. So if it's fear of accountability, don't let that hold you back. The glass ceiling is ready to be shattered right now, and you're ready to ascend to a new level. So this could be anything in your life, from a job to sort of personal development. You're just really understanding like who you are and coming into your power. The star card is very good. The only thing that can hold the star back is if it kind of like goes back into hermit phase and doesn't show its true self or true light. So trust that you know who you are. This inner knowing that Lord Ganesha was bringing through is saying, please lean into that which you know, and don't let it pass you by. Let me look in this. I'm going to see what's in the horizon here. I think it's just a beetle in the background. So yeah, I think for some of us, we're just kind of like putting our head in the ground or not wanting to look. So definitely look around. This is your moment to shine. Good stuff coming through with that. I like what I see in the environment. For those of you that are looking for love, this card portends good things. We have the Knight of Cups in the environment. So people are interested in investing in you. People are interested in some of you dating you or spending time with you. Good time to lean into existing relationships and kind of clean them up a little bit. So if you're already in a relationship, we see growth with this. If you're looking for a partnership or for a friendship, people are open to you. So I think that you just have to sort of feel it and believe it too. It was interesting on this Knight of Cups card, we see the cup balanced on the head. So you have to actually know it and feel that it's like they're carrying that ace on their head. So unconditional love and saying, I'm really, truly ready to receive what's being offered, because it does look like some good things are being offered. The thing that could be getting in the way of it here is, do I know who I am and who I'm looking to connect to when it comes to partnerships, love, and business? Because it does look like a good month to have a breakthrough in any of those sort of categories. Five of Swords, another card that I identified when I was looking at the index cards earlier in the channel messages. You don't have to prove yourself. Five of Swords, you can't win that battle sometimes. And like I said, even if you win it, you may have more to lose because of what is said, because of what people think about you, because of how you feel after you win it. We've all had something where we say something, it feels good in the moment, and then later you think, that wasn't worth it. Why did I say that? So because you're watching this reading, you're not going to have to do that. When the person or when this opportunity presents itself and you're tempted to open up that mouth and say things that may not be worth it, you're going to think back to this reading and kind of evaluate it and think, do I want to say what I have up here, or am I going to wait a second? And you can always say, we should regroup tomorrow. Let's talk later. I need some more time. Or I don't feel like we're getting anywhere right now. Let's try it later. That's a way of saying, I'm not going to walk away from you, but this isn't working. Or let's get another person involved. I think we need more information. So you can always ask for time or information. And if they won't give it to you, then just say, well, it's on you then. If this is your choice, you know my reservations, good luck. And just let it go. You've stated a little bit of your claim there, but you do not have to. We don't have to change people or change their mind. You just have to plant a seed and let them think about things. All right, we have the Moon card here in your outcome. The Moon can be a very good card. It is divine feminine energy. That's what we've been talking about a lot today. So for many of you, this is your chance to really trust instinct. We don't see it so much in this particular illustration. There is no dog and wolf. Typically, you would see a dog and a wolf on either side of this sort of path. Sometimes there's water, not usually at the center point. Usually there's a little lake and there's a lobster coming out of that. So what the Moon represents is hidden knowledge, things that are hidden out of you that are coming into your third eye, or things that are coming to your attention. The question when these things are happening is, what do I want to do about what I see or feel? So you're getting a good instinct, you're getting good information, and you have to figure out, am I ready to act on it? It's a very good card for emotional strength to kind of, you can kind of gather that up and know who you are and where you stand. However, when we get a combination of the Devil and the Moon card, there's definitely some things we need to talk about. So the Devil, as I said earlier, can be a controlling card. It can also be a card of deceit. When we have the Moon card here as well, this is usually showing loyalties. So you will probably, in no uncertain ways, really know who you can trust over the next month. So there may just be something where that could be a little white lie, could be an error of omission, or maybe an intentional omission where people think, if I don't say it and they don't ask, it's not really lying. And I talked yesterday, again, to Taurus a little bit about this. So try to be as transparent as possible. Take the risk and say something that you need to say, even if you're worried a little bit. Get that stuff out in the light of day, and that's going to help. So honesty and transparency are essential. If you're going to sign a contract, get a good second set of eyes, maybe a third set of eyes to look at it. Definitely legal counsel would be something I would advise on that, just to make sure that you know what you're committing to. And then if you meet somebody new, make sure that you truly understand their history and their motives. I think that some of you could be yourself just nursing some wounds, and you're trying to get out of a situation where you weren't given the freedom that you need. So try not to repeat the cycle again. And maybe you're looking for love right now, or looking for an opportunity, but there's something that's not quite the right match. Don't force it. So if someone says no, or they're not ready, then move on. It probably isn't the right place and the right time. That's the universe trying to help you course correct. Okay? Let me grab some water. Then we're going to extend this forecast and look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. So also with the Moon card, creativity, passion, excitement, all of those things that we were talking about that were part of the divine feminine, that can also be something that you can access. It's just sort of a choice and a decision. Am I ready to receive this right now? So I think that's the other thing that I would say with that. The card is upright. It can also indicate pregnancy or, again, the sort of beginning of something new. So we'll see how that kind of falls through when we look at health cards. All right, let's start with your health card. We have spiritual support. Health is mind, body, and spirit. It's not just what's going on in your body, but we're going to look at all of those different factors here. So basically, this is really just about spiritual awareness. And some of you might be opening up to finding a spiritual tribe. And the little caption at the bottom is a prayer of gratitude for helping you find that spiritual awareness. So if you are starting to just kind of get good gut instincts, maybe you walk into a room, you see someone, and before they open their mouth, you know kind of like how the conversation is going to go. Or you're at a point where you just kind of have an epiphany. I had an epiphany like many years ago, almost 21, 22 years ago, when I decided to move from East Coast to West Coast. I just looked up. It was nighttime. I was taking a walk, and I just thought, I need to move to the other side of the country. I need to do something different. I knew it was California. I didn't know which part that I was going to be in because I've lived up and down the coast a bit, but eventually it was LA. But I just knew that I needed to move, and I knew that the time was soon, like within the next 6 months. I didn't know how I was going to make it work or why I needed to go, but I had an epiphany. So some of you may connect to an epiphany that is going to be healthy for you. You may think this relationship is broken, or I really love this person and I want to get into a relationship, something big, a big shift. Follow that epiphany. You may want to lean on support here. We see support. So this can be counseling. This can be finding someone who understands you and supports you. A chosen family, and we talk about this a lot, usually around Thanksgiving. Family is not just blood. Family are close friends. They are sometimes even coworkers that become close friends that you can lean on, oftentimes more and more transparently so than you can with your biological or blood kin. So this is a chance to find that chosen family. And this isn't something you just stumble upon. It's something where you have to kind of like nurture and develop it over time. I met a bunch of great friends when I used to do yoga more regularly pre-pandemic. A lot of different activities that I've done and have sort of opened up new friendships. So look in your life and think, where can I find people that vibe the same way that I do and do something that I want to do, and kind of work on that. For those of you that are awakening spiritually, this is part of the reason, like, I am a certified yoga instructor. I don't really do that right now, but I did that because I gained so much out of the experience of going to yoga. And I did yoga initially because I was starting to wake up empathically. And so I was feeling a lot of energy in my body and I couldn't kind of channel it where I wanted it to. So I did a spiritual activity like that, like yoga. I've also done like Reiki attunement and things like that because I just wanted to learn more about energy. So if you are curious, do something about it. The spiritual card is an awakening card, very much supported by all the energy that we've been looking at so far. And it is absolutely a fantastic way to work around the devil card. The more you know, the less you fear, right? So, and the better prepared you are. In the US, there's like a TV network that used to have like The More You Know and this little star that shot across the sky. I feel like it was incomplete. It was sort of like the more you know, the better prepared you are for opportunities in front of you, the less you are apt to be afraid, the less you are apt to be taken advantage of. Knowledge is power. That's really what I would have made it. Knowledge is power. It's a lot stronger because the more you know is just kind of like, it doesn't make any sense. So I would say for you, knowledge is power. Spiritual knowledge is power. I started reading the cards for empowerment as well. So learn, expand, educate yourself. It will help you with respect to kind of like how to find that inner strength. If you are stressed out, this can also indicate the need to talk to a counselor or a therapist or lean on that spiritual tribe that we talked about. Let's look specifically at the cards now for some additional insights. Okay, so this is a good month for you to change. Let's look first at, they're all change cards in the center, but this card is a change of fortune, the Wheel of Fortune reversed. The Devil card is something that was limiting you and holding you back. It can be a bad relationship. It can be a bad habit too. Drinking too much, smoking too much, etc. So you could decide that you're no longer going to feed that habit. And when you do that, the shackles are released and you change your fortune by doing that and change your health as well. All right. So walk away from old habits. Some of you have had a brush figuratively or literally with death. We got two death cards at the center, death itself. and the center card, of course, being the Four of Swords. So this is going to wake you up, basically, because that Four of Swords can indicate sleep or wake. The Death card on top of it is a wake-up call. So take this moment, take this instant in time as a wake-up call to really kind of go for whatever it is you want to do. The time is now, and that's basically what these are showing you. Focusing is going to be a little difficult for some of you. The Seven of Cups seems to have come up a lot over the past week for me as I've been doing readings. So on the bright side, especially if it's upright, it can just be ideation and brainstorming. But in the reverse state, it can often indicate feeling overwhelmed. And sometimes not being able to turn off the thoughts as you go to sleep or when you're trying to focus. So concentration, distraction, mental acuity, these are things that might be going on. It could be stress related, it could be something else. So whatever's going on, talk to somebody. I think that's really what you need to do with this one. And then for those of you that are just stressing out about things, if you're going down the rabbit hole of what if or wishing that you could have changed it, it's about walking away from that and just picking one of those cups and going forward. Let me see if there's anything else. I think that's pretty much it, actually. Again, the Moon card is just begging you to pay attention to things that exist kind of like in the second chakra area, second, maybe third, but it can be like UI track. So if you need to go, if you haven't never seen a urologist, it might be something there. It could also be pregnancy. It can also just be about fluid retention or how much water you're drinking. But basically just taking care of the inner waterworks of your body and just making sure that that's okay too. Thankfully, the card was upright. So I just really feel like for many of you, this is an extension of the Divine Feminine, which is saying, if you put energy into anything this month, you'll see progress on it. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead now and take a look at what's coming through for wealth. What a great card here. We have hope, love, and acceptance. Let me look at what the bottom part says. It says, love is yours. Recognize your divine worth. Choose loving thoughts. What we think and what we imagine is what we create. You're basically breathing it into existence. So the more that you can truly envision and believe and trust positivity is yours for the taking, then the sooner you're going to start to see this. So you may be someone who just didn't have love, support, and encouragement from your parents growing up. This is the time to make sure that you're doing that for yourself, especially when it comes to what's possible. If you're not feeling that at work or in the environments that you're working in, this is also kind of a wake-up call that it's time to prioritize that and seek that out. Specifically looking at your cards here, let me just do a quick audit. We do not have pentacles. Nope, we do not have pentacles. All right, I'm just going to, on the fly, take a look. And whenever I see an absence of, we have the Wheel of Fortune. I'll take that. But let's look at switching the Wheel of Fortune or kind of looking at why there's not more pentacles. It's time to move on. We've now actually received all of the death cards except maybe Judgment, which is rebirth. So we have the Six of Swords in reverse. The Six of Swords is moving forward, moving onward, trusting that there's something more. So again, some of you need to finish what you've started or move on in order to see the growth or the change that's necessary. The Six of Swords is also looking beyond borders, and it can be a card for like globalizing or thinking bigger. So if you do have a product or a brand or an investment, there might be something beyond where you live, like taking it to another country, taking it to another level. You have to kind of like push through the borders and the boundaries. That's going to be necessary as well for wealth and growth there. Looking again here at the tarot cards for some additional messages about that. If there's stagnation, because the Four of Swords can be a lack of movement, and the Death card, when it's crossing or it's upside down, can sometimes show some sort of stagnation. I think it's going to be important for you to move beyond that. So stagnation, basically meaning that you're not making progress. If you've been at the same place, same position in a company for a long time, and you're not seeing growth and you desire it, not all people want to kind of go beyond a position, but if you want to, now is the time. And these two cards together, both reversed, are basically saying a change of fortune comes with a change of location. So for many of you, it's time to move on. I don't know how else I can say it, especially if people are just not letting you be who you need to be and do what you need to do. Don't limit your thoughts. Good time for ideation and brainstorming. Overall, I like what I see, and I feel like it's what makes you different or unique or not blend in that's really going to make you powerful in the next leg of your journey. For those of you that might be retired, the star card is having some fun, seeing the world, and really just being your authentic self, especially if you're not constrained to, an office job anymore and you don't have to worry about what people think. This is also kind of like what would you call it when you're kind of running and you get that second breath, like that out of nowhere, you just have a chance to sort of like feel inspired again. Doesn't matter if you are younger, mid-aged, or older. We all kind of get that second win. That's what I was trying to say. Second win out of nowhere. I feel like you're going to be able to do that. So when you kind of feel that, oh, I'm okay, go with that, move forward, and make a phone call, take a walk, do something to make this happen. That's pretty much it. One thing when I'm looking at contracts again, I really want you to be careful about what you promise. The devil card and the moon card are not ideal when it comes to contract negotiation. So it doesn't mean that you're going to get trapped. It means that someone might be trying to pressure you to do something that you don't want to do, or that they're not giving you what you deserve. So fight for the equal pay or the long-term intellectual property rights, whatever it is that you can have there. I think that's going to be absolutely important. So that will help you. All right, so let's move on to the next piece here, which is going to be relationships. I look at love with a capital L. So this can be your best friend, your coworker, your lover, your parent. It's basically how you connect and love those around you. Okay, so let's read this card here. We have karmic board clearing. I love that. It says energetic clearing, rewrite your story. Yes, please, and live your truth. So let me let the card focus for a second. What a cool image here coming through. And again, look at those words at the bottom, how powerful they are. So that says, again, energetic clearing, rewrite your story, and live your truth. So this is a chance for you to become the writer, the producer, the director, and say, I'm kind of done with this energy. So if we're looking at a karmic clearing of a partner, there could be someone in your life with whom you have quote unquote graduated karmically. So you met so that they could awaken a lesson plan that's kind of like coded in our DNA or in your sort of spiritual DNA. And you finished the lesson, but you're hanging on to the person. So at this point, you can either decide class dismissed and I'm moving on, looking for a new teacher, looking for a new student, whatever. Or you decide, all right, so we graduated. Now do we want to write a different future, a different plan, like a choose your own adventure? Once you've released the karma, which a lot of times has to do with honesty, power, money, something from the past that really hurt you. Once you've kind of overcome that, then you see the person in a new light. And it's like a book rewrite before you publish it. You can make the antagonist a protagonist, or you can make the hero an anti-hero, or whatever you want to do. So there's a chance to reframe people. Not like refrain, but reframe, like a new frame like this. So when we reframe someone, if you think about someone in your life that's been difficult and you say, instead of being your enemy, they were a really good teacher, or they really were important for helping you see something. They were very maybe constructively critical. You didn't like them at the time. Suddenly they become less powerful and less, they're not kind of like sucking the air or the energy out of you. So they taught you a lesson and maybe it was difficult, but they're not the source of all your like vitriol and hate and all of that. Once you let that go, then you feel lighter, you feel better, and it's healthier. And it's also good to make amends. I know that I had a disagreement once with a friend of a friend, but I had this epiphany once when I was just out and about. I think there was a celebration or something. I saw them and we both were really relieved to see each other after not talking for a while. And I just said, I'm so sorry. I don't even know what we're fighting about anymore. And I got a big hug from that person. They felt the same way. They ended up passing away actually a couple months later. And I felt so happy that we had a chance to mend it, because we won't have to relive it in a future lifetime. And we weren't really even remembering why we were upset. Sometimes you put energy so long into something that it's kind of like, it becomes its own sort of thing. So the devil can also be something that you conjure up or create like that. So a simple hug and a let's hang out kind of like completely, and I'm sorry, and like it can completely kind of like clear the air. And so give someone the chance to show up differently. And sometimes it's not going to be the same. I've had conversations like that before where I've said, I think we're probably, this is done, but I don't want to avoid you. We're going to see each other a lot. Let's just sort of like be okay with each other. We could have done better. You could have done better. I could have done better. So you can have a conversation that's honest where both of you take some accountability. It's so much better. I'm always happy when I've had a chance to clear the air. And that's really what this is, karmic board clearing. Maybe you could have done better. Maybe they could have done better, but you're tired of playing the old roles. Okay. So that'll be really important for you. And remember that it's never too late to do something new. Okay. Let's take a look at the cards themselves. I like to look at it in 3 different perspectives here for those of you that are in a relationship or in love, looking for a relationship or love, and that are kind of agnostic or not kind of focusing on it. So let's do all of those. For those in a present relationship, again, you can think of the person you care about the most. It doesn't have to be romance because we're not all connected to someone. This can be the key relationship where the love is exchanged the most. So some of you, it's family. There is a necessary change. You've changed or they've changed. There could also be sort of like fear around that change. Some people are even afraid of mortality. I think this is a normal thing based on what's going on in the world right now, because we've all seen a lot of people have some difficulties. Some people, we've lost people, right? So we're looking at our lives and thinking, have I done what I needed to do? Is this relationship where I thought it would be? Are we the same people that we were when we met? So changes happen on both sides, but there could be a little bit of a lack of investment because Death and 4 of Swords does kind of have that stagnating energy. So you need to see growth and change happen together. There could be a desire to sell something like a house or change a job. This can also put a big sort of like monkey wrench in a relationship because it's sort of like a big shift. Maybe both partners aren't on the same page. So change is the central theme. Honesty is the important thing that has to happen this time, because in the deep past or in the karmic past for some of you, that honesty didn't exist. So open yourself up, talk about it, think about it. You don't have to decide something immediately. Remember, there's room for 2 stars. It's not like a queen bee sort of thing where you can only have 1 per colony. You can both shine. You can both do something you want to do. So encouraging one another's growth, encouraging one another's ability to be all that they desire and dream to be, and then to also kind of be just there to listen, because someone might be going through a lot. 7 of Cups in reverse is really about helping them sort out their thoughts. Okay? I think that is really, really important, and hopefully that will help you out. Ultimately, I like what I see, but honesty is the most important thing. We are kind of seeing a continuing message here between change and honesty. So you have to be honest. You have to be willing to take the steps towards change and trust what you're feeling. Try to avoid those arguments, unnecessary arguments, okay? Not going to solve things. Some battles can't be won. Some things aren't worth arguing. Some people aren't listening. You can say all you want to say, but they're not going to listen. If you are looking for love this month, you have a good chance of bringing that in. We have the Star card here, and the Star card is actually helping you attract other people, because your authentic self is something that people pick up on. Maybe they've noticed a change. They see you differently. It can be as obvious or simple as a haircut. It can be as subtle as you've changed inside and you're starting to kind of like emanate a different confidence. You're holding yourself differently. You're speaking up more. You're smiling more, whatever it is. People are going to notice a change inside and out, especially if you're doing a combination of the two. So you're pulling in that high frequency energy, which I like. Definitely some water coming through for you with both the Knight of Cups and the Moon card. So you could be pulling in a water sign. And ultimately for you, the one thing that I want you to be cognizant of is, what am I looking for? This card is a little bit ambiguous. It's asking or begging for that clarity. But if you don't know, then it's sort of like you're just sort of like throwing a shot in the dark. You don't know where you're going. You don't know what's going on. So definitely be mindful of what kind of energy. It's not so much looks. It's more sort of like someone who's independent, someone who's available, someone who's financially stable, whatever your kind of attributes are. Think about the top 5 or 10 things that you're looking for in a partner and decide on it, then release it, and then look around and see if the universe is kind of, it's like call and answer. You got to put the call out there and wait for the universe to answer. Okay. But I definitely see openings for you. It looks like it's a water sign. Honesty continues to be a key theme with all of these since the devil is in the past. And finally, if you're not focusing on relationship building right now, then it's a good time to get some work done. We have the Hierophant card in the crowning position showing the ability to create structure and organization. We have the Star card here, which says you could really step into a role of leadership if you're looking for it. We have people being very receptive to what you have to offer. So even if you're not looking for love or looking for partnership, people are still keen on what you have to say. So you have a very attractive energy that will help you with your finances. Because we have the Wheel of Fortune card in reverse. So you put on that that charm and charisma, and you'll be surprised at what it could bring in for you. All right, let's take a look at your final card here, which is your destiny, which is something that can be adjusted here. We have Cernunnos. Interestingly enough, Cernunnos in a couple of decks, I think Druidcraft perhaps, actually represents the devil, and it's shape-shifting. So Cernunnos sometimes is not what it seems to be. The card in reverse is basically saying, for some of you, you're going to see through facades. Also, don't limit yourself in trying on something new. So shape-shifting as a sort of message is good. It's telling me you can kind of fit any challenge that comes through and sort of like blossom in that situation, but there could be something that's holding you back from really stepping into that role. Actors get to do this all the time. It's kind of like putting on a mask. That's why we see the dramatic arts represented by the comedy and the drama sort of masks. You try on a different persona. So for some of you, there's just an encouragement to do that. For the rest of you, there's a message here that you're going to see through things. With the devil and with the moon, and now with Cernunnos, really themes of honesty and gut instinct are coming through time and again. So trust that, okay? Let's go ahead now and pull one card for the big idea. And let's see what the message is. Big idea is an overarching theme, even though I've identified a few. Let's just see if there's something else that wants to present itself. So we have the Knight of Wands in reverse. This Knight of Wands it's kind of interesting how she's kind of having fun with being flexible in the energy. A lot of times with wands, they're like, especially with the 10 of Wands, it can feel like a burden. But with this one, it's sort of like pushing and pulling at what's possible. I want you to really kind of imagine that your ideas are like clay. They can be molded and built up. They can also be rebuilt and smushed back down. So being super flexible and malleable with how you imagine things. So imagine and then reimagine and then stay a little bit open. The flexibility will bring in new opportunities and new ways of being or seeing things. So I think that that openness and not being too rigid is kind of essential right now for making sure that you don't miss something. Okay. All right. So that's your big idea. Let's move on now to blessings and blocks. One other thing while I'm kind of shuffling here for blessings and blocks, with the Knight of Wands in reverse, I would also say for many of you, not being too stubborn, literally kind of like just saying no without entertaining a thought would also be important. All right. So for the next thing that we're going to be looking at, we're going to do blessings and blocks. And for the blessing, it's going to be something to really embrace, enjoy, and celebrate. Your blessing this month is the Ace of Swords in reverse. Time to take some action, time to put that pen to the paper, good time to revise. I actually talked a bit about this in the channeled messages here. So let me grab it here. Definitely the building or rebuilding piece is what I remember. So here we go. To me, an Ace of Swords in reverse can be like a pen to paper. So editing, revising, building or rebuilding, also really important as well. So you have this potential right now to put your thoughts out there in the universe, and constructively so if you want to do all of this too. So constructive, critical energy, editing, revising, rebuilding, and then also just getting started. Anytime I get an ace or a court card in the suit of swords, a reversal usually says get to the point. So if there's something you really want to be said or to see done, then go ahead and say it or do it. You are going to have to lead the charge on this one, lead by example, or be the first one to raise your hand and say, I have a thought, I have an idea. This is what we need to do. Okay, so your blessing is the ability to do this, and the challenge for you is just, am I willing? Okay. All right, let's go ahead now and take a look at what could block you from all of this. Ten of Swords, which we also talked about in the channeled messages. This, and we got both of the two that I mentioned, the 10 and the 5 of Swords, both came up. The 5 of Swords is a fight that you can't win. The 10 of Swords is saying something that you know is going to have an effect. It's like burning a bridge or blowing up a bridge. So you want to be careful of that. And I know that I mentioned them here as well. When I talked about this, this is the message around sometimes when you lose, you win. And I think that that's what we have to remember, is that not everything is worth that getting into the last word. You don't have to get the last word in. Let it go. And here's what we got. Be mindful. I actually, I misspelled it because I was talking about the B. So this is a funny pun. Be mindful of trade-offs and avoid the 10 of Swords style of arguments and the 5 of Swords too. B. The reason I was putting the B in there is because I was talking about the stinger too. So that makes me laugh. All right. So yeah, definitely be mindful of, is it worth it? What do I have to lose? And be yourself. If you can't change who you are, you can't change who that person is. It's probably just time for a parting of the ways. And it feels like that's a common theme here too. So you don't have to go there. This is an avoidable 10 of Swords. You're not necessarily going to need to kind of like put it all out there on the table. They know, you know, it's not going to really go anywhere. All right. Got to laugh at ourselves sometimes, right? It's funny. All right, let's give you a chance to do some voting here. I always like to be interactive. So as I'm looking at all of these, I want to kind of throw out some potential questions that you can have me dig deeper into here. So give me a moment here, and let me get my glasses. We're going to do a viewer poll, give you a chance to vote, and see if there's some additional insight that we can basically give you a chance to see. All right, so viewer's choice. The first thing that I'm looking at here, I want to look at the energy of death, transformation, and change. What is it that you really want to see, or what is it? What is the opportunity right now for death, transformation, and change in your life? I also want to see change. Well, I'm going to look at like the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. To me, can be sort of a change in direction or fortune. So let's just look at. I'm going to put change of fortune. Both of these are kind of change cards or change messages, but one is focused on fortune or direction. And then the last one here I want to look at is avoiding limits. And for some of you, this can be ideas. And for the rest of you, it can be others that are imposing the limits on you too. So there's a couple options for you to vote on. I'm going to go and pull a card now from Spirit and see if there is a general message from your guides while we're waiting for you to vote on this. So the message from Spirit is also another card that I talked about earlier, the Two of Pentacles. Two of Pentacles is encouraging you to make a choice. When I was looking at all of these balance messages, that's really what they had in common here. Six of Pentacles is saying not today or no to something. The Two of Pentacles is outright choosing something. Justice is the necessary piece for all of this to come together, which is I decide, I choose, yes or no. So you're being asked to choose. And when you do, you're left with an ace. The Two of Pentacles is not a bad card. It can be your work-life balance, choosing to put a little bit more energy into, your own happiness, your career, your family, whatever you want to, or whatever it is, it's kind of calling to you. But you have to make that choice, and that's really what it's begging for. All right, let's take a look at the change of direction or fortune. It looks to be the main one. I'm going to shuffle the cards just to make sure. Sometimes at the last minute it changes. So let's just see what's coming through. Thank you to everyone that did vote. I appreciate that. Okay, so it's a definite winner, change of fortune or direction. This will be good for those of you that are happening to, or possibly kind of you're on the horizon of maybe leaving a job, changing your job, retiring, or looking for something new in your life. I think all of us can relate to a change of direction. So what is the Wheel of Fortune reverse trying to tell all of us? Ah, Six of Cups, partnership, friendship, a high sort of soul relationship that could be coming into your life. Also, reconnecting to the way that it was when you were younger. This kind of has it looks almost like a fisheye lens, so a very wide field of view, so that you're kind of, or wide angle rather, so where things kind of like, yeah, it's like a fisheye. So I would say for you, it can also just be looking at this because it is just like an eye. So there is this opportunity if you're ready to find it, if you're ready to see it, a really great friendship can be coming through, a really old soul and deep sort of soul could be coming into your life. And for many of you, you might just want to get back into the irreverent, joyful, playful energy that we see with this childlike card. There's a few children in the tarot. Major Arcana, it tends to be either the Fool or the Sun card. They're babies, basically. Or the Fool is the beginning. They're young, but the Sun is actually a baby on a horse. Six of Cups are children. So children in general can be good, a great centering energy, but connecting with the inner child, going back to things you loved as a kid, being sort of playful and letting things kind of roll off your back rather than holding on to them. All of these things are coming through to help you navigate the change. You should feel fun. You should like the environment. You should like the people around you. Think of your most of us liked recess when we were kids, right? So this card is kind of like that. It's recess or your art or music class or phys ed, wherever you were kind of feeling like, this is the time I get to have fun. I'm not in algebra right now. I get to just kind of enjoy. So no disrespect to the mathematicians out there. Each of us likes and dislikes different things. So whatever it is that you enjoy, and maybe it was algebra, have some fun prioritizing that. This should be your North Star, right? So you're the star, but you also have a North Star. So I think that you have a chance right now to go in that direction. And if you just connected with someone, your future best friend or future partner, put some energy into that relationship, because one of the things that we were looking at here was an opportunity to really reprioritize. Okay, so I like what I'm seeing across the board for you, Gemini. It looks like a pretty good period of time for you. All right, we're just about ready to move on to the final portion of the reading. A couple of reminders. This is just 2 parts left, so stick around. If you have a question for me that I haven't answered, scribble it down on a piece of paper. I'm going to do a final card pull in just a moment where I will answer that. You can ask about work, you can ask about career, or about relationships, or about health, or whatever it is it's kind of going through your head, and I'll pull a final card. We're going to meditate for 2 minutes or a minute and a half, and then I will get into that final question. I only ask once or twice, so this is my one time that I'm asking here. Please, if you've never hit the like button, let's do it. We're roughly at half, but not quite there. I'd love to see us get to half. You can only do it once. If you're a longtime viewer, but you've never subscribed, it's free. Subscribe equals follow. There's no money, there's no obligations. It just helps the channel. Both of these things are free and they help. And for some reason, 60 to 70% of the people that watch don't do it. So let's break that. Let's change things a little bit, just like the Wheel of Fortune. Let's increase both of them so that things can kind of move in the right direction. I pinned a comment earlier. If you want to keep in touch with me on social media, here are all of my handles. Don't worry about trying to memorize it or see all of it. Again, you can just click on the pinned link and they'll be there. A quick reminder when it comes to social media, I do not reach out directly to people. I don't offer services in comments or direct messages. If anyone reaches out to you, it's not me. Let me know about it. I'll report it. You can report it as well. Thank you to everybody that has joined as a member or given back. If you'd like to support me on Super Chat, you can do that right here. And again, if you happen to be watching later on replay, hello. And you can also show some help through the thanks button. All right, with all of that being said and done, let's go ahead and set up the meditation. Whenever I get really cool energy like the star, I feel like that's kind of what we should be focusing on. So I'm going to put one final poll up here for you while I'm finishing up and getting ready for this meditation, and then we'll meditate. All right, so for the opportunity here on the final poll, you can just tell me which instrument you'd like me to use, the crystal pyramid or the singing bowl. All right, so when you have a chance, you can vote. Close your eyes, take a nice deep breath. Exhale, let go of whatever it is that you've been holding on to, whatever has been difficult for you to kind of manage or think about over the past week. And I want you to see yourself in this sort of, we talked about the cage yesterday. I think right now it might be nice to kind of imagine that you are a baby star kind of pushing through your first moments of birth. So usually when we have like a cloud, a nebula, or like a star factory for baby stars, I would say what you want to think about is sometimes in the beginning you can't see anything. It's just dust. So in the midst of change in your life, imagine that just like a star, there's fog or dust around you. What you want to do is close your eyes and feel this sort of strength and energy coming from your heart, also coming from your solar plexus. We want your power here. We also want your heart and passion to come through. Imagine that these are two twin stars within your body that are going to light up and help you navigate what's coming through. So as these twin stars burst into life, burst into existence, everything around them starts to clear up. And just like our solar system, you can start to see things moving in and out of your orbit. So I want you to imagine the things that you love and care about the most. See them coming closer to you or coming right into your energy. Think of the things that you no longer need. Imagine that you can push them further away. Your heart is coming through to show your true self, your true passion. Your solar plexus is really bright with light so that you can feel confident to follow through on this. I want you to see these twin stars moving around, dancing the dance of creation in the sky, creating your future. And imagine that you could write any story, any outcome that you would like. Have fun doing this while I play the singing bowl, and then I'll come back in about a minute or two, and we will take a look at your final question. Keep breathing as you listen to this. Imagine that, again, you have the potential right now to create, to experience, to ignite something that you want in your life. Remember that you are an agent of change. You're an agent of light. You are strong, powerful, and capable. You are ready for all the love, abundance, and opportunity that the universe has in store for you. Use this or something like this as your mantra to help facilitate, to help bring in, to help manifest whatever it is in your heart. But know that it's already been brought into motion. If you did the meditation, you've created that change. You've created the momentum. Now you just want to allow the momentum to continue to build. All right? Gently come back into your body. Take a final deep breath. Open your eyes on the next natural exhale. Look at that piece of paper or your phone or wherever you wrote down the question that you had for me. Meditate on it as I'm shuffling the cards, and let's see what the message is for you. And we got the Fool card coming through here. And this is one of my favorite Fools. It's definitely like a leap of faith. We see the momentum that we were just talking about you building. And the answer to this is it's a yes. And it's really about just making sure that you are comfortable enough to just go for it. The Fool card also does remind you to think before jumping, before leaping. But ultimately, we can think ourselves into that prison that I was talking about in the Eight of Swords. So this is a leap of faith. This is a change. This is a new beginning. This is the bookends to the World card. So it is time for something new. It indicates a move for some of you. It indicates a change. It indicates movement as well, and a fresh, clean slate, not holding on to all of the sort of stuff that was. I like all of it. And it is a birthing card as well. So it is sort of showing something new coming into birth or creation. So I like everything that I saw about it. The card was not reversed. It is positive. The only warning with the Fool, we don't see it in this one. Usually there's a little puppy dog behind the Fool. It's yanking at normally his pant leg. And it's basically saying, look before you jump. So that's all I would say. Look before you jump. Have a plan B, have a plan C, make sure that you have what it takes to make the jump. But then at a certain point, you got to just take the leap of faith. Okay. So as long as you're doing that, I think you're in a really great place. Okay. Let's go ahead now and wrap up. First of all, I just want to say thanks to everybody that spent some time here with me today. Let me give you a quick link to my schedule. I'll be adding a couple of links over the next day or so. The reason I'm holding back, like I said, is because I have some new equipment that I want to test out, and it requires a different way for me to schedule the links. So assuming that everything goes well, I should be doing an impromptu within the next day, and then I'll put the link for Sunday by tomorrow, if not later tonight. So once everything is good, then I will have all those links up, but that's the upcoming schedule for you. I always try to have the next one up on my main page. So by Saturday, I'll have the links up there. Let me see if there's anything else. We're just going to say thanks to everybody who gave back a little bit. So first of all, thanks to all my existing subscribers and channel members and Patreon supporters. Again, you make this possible. It's been a great sort of experience over the past 7 years or so. So thank you so much for being here for that journey. And now I want to say thank you to anybody today who became a new member or gave back a little bit with super stickers or super chat. So we'll start first with new members. Anybody in the last 24 hours that has joined, I will acknowledge you right now. So it looks like Francis Campbell is a new channel member, brand new. Welcome. Heart Vibrations has rejoined after 2 months. So thank you for the 2 months of membership. Barbara Carlson is a new channel member. And let's see. Also, we have Kathy C, who rejoined after 16 months of support. So thank you. And I think that's everybody that joined today. So I appreciate that. And now for anybody who gave back a super sticker or super chat, let's take a look and say thank you. So we'll start off with Andre. Thank you so much. I appreciate your continued support, and I know you're a member. I appreciate you here. Thank you. TC, Sam Saylor, Christina Dibiel, Jaya Journeys, and Ms. Moses. And I think I've seen almost every one of you give in the past, and I appreciate your continued support. Again, all of that helps. And I have some fun stuff in store for you if I can get the technology working. Like I said, I can kind of cut between two different things, so I don't have to move the camera and all that stuff. So I'll keep continuing to improve it. And all of you are absolutely essential to me being able to do that. All right. So have a great end of the week, everybody, a great month ahead. And hope to see you on the weekend. Next week, let's see, since I just did Gemini, I'll be doing Cancer, Leo, and Virgo. You can look at the schedule for details. And again, I'm live every Sunday, 9 a.m. Pacific time for a collective where I look at the next 7 days. You can still watch last week's if you'd like to. It has some good energy for the new year. All right. Lots of love and light, everyone. Thank you to help in moderating, and I'll see you soon. All right. Bye-bye.